Hey girl, real quick. I'm so excited about the new habit-based fitness app I just launched, and I want to invite you to come check it out because I know it will finally help you stay consistent and see and feel results. The programming was created with you in mind. Come get a free 7-day trial inside of the Training for Life app at trainingforlifeapp.com. I can't wait to see you in there. Okay, let's get into the show. Hey girl, do you wish you could make your healthy habits stick, but life keeps getting in the way? Are you tired of diet culture telling you to shrink yourself when you'd rather just find true food freedom, move your body for joy, and feel and look good in your favorite leggings? Then you're in the right place. Think of this as Atomic Habits for women. Hey, I'm Emily Nichols, habit and fitness coach, millennial mom, and Taco Tuesday enthusiast. I'm here to tell you there is an easier way than what we've been taught about health and our habits. How do I know? Because I've gone from former chronic dieter to habit hacker through the power of the system that I'm now going to teach you so you can finally stop dieting and just train for life via your habits. Remember, it's not your fault your healthy habits haven't stuck. We just have to do them differently. Are you ready to habit hack your health? Then let's do this. You're listening to episode 272 of Habit Hack Your Health. Hey girl, welcome to the show. How are you? How are you doing? If the first response is like, girl, I'm stressed, I'm barely surviving, I'm a hot mess, you're not alone. You're not alone. In a 2022 survey, this survey found that more than 40% of moms who work have been diagnosed with either anxiety, depression, or both conditions. We are stressed to the max, girlfriend. We are so stressed out. And unfortunately, it's affecting our health. In particular, I'm going to say a hot word here, our cortisol. Now, you probably have heard a lot of folks talking about cortisol online. As a midlife mom, I know it's something I'm personally exploring, and I hear a lot of my clients inside of the Training for Life app talking about it. My one-on-one habit coaching clients ask me about it, and even in-person people that I train. So first, let's talk about what cortisol is. So it's a steroid hormone, right? It controls a wide range of processes throughout your body, like regulating your body's stress response. It helps you control your body's use of fat, proteins, carbohydrates, managing your metabolism, suppressing inflammation, regulating your blood pressure, regulating your blood sugar, and helping you control your sleep-wake cycle. Cortisol is something we all use, we all have, and it's not bad, but if it's high, you might be experiencing some symptoms like weight gain, especially in the mid-belly area, headaches, irritability, and a ton of others. Testing can for sure give you more data on this. If you have high cortisol levels or if you suspect you do, you might have some unhealthy habits that are contributing to your higher cortisol. Or if you've been like me in the past or some of my other clients, you're just trying to like outwork the high cortisol, right? Maybe you've gained some belly. Your belly has bigger circumference right now, and you're trying to just work out to the max, hoping these issues will resolve themselves by restricting your food and just going to the max. But unfortunately, it's impacting your cortisol even more and not in the way you hope. So this episode is just very timely as I am personally waiting to get back my own cortisol testing results from my functional doctor. I literally just did a saliva test a couple weeks ago. Next week, I'm going in to get the results. I'll have to do a follow-up episode and let you know what I found out. But I wanted to see where my levels were because I am feeling some of those symptoms that I noticed. And I know most importantly, my sleep hasn't been so great lately. And I'm feeling a bit stressed about it. And I want to get the data and be able to really attack what is going on with my hormone health, in particular with my cortisol levels, with a very strategic way in the way that I eat, the way that I move my body, and the way that I'm managing stress. Now, as women, We always talk about it. We have to do habits differently. We talk about this more on my private podcast, Atomic Habits for Women. It's linked in the show notes. Go listen to it. I kind of break down why diet culture has made it hard for us to create healthy habits. And I share with you my Atomic Habit Hacking System for women to help you take charge and take action in regards to your own health in not an overwhelming way. But you might find yourself saying or thinking, as I'm getting ready to get into some tips and talk with our expert guests today, well, what am I going to have to give up in order to lower my cortisol? Right? What am I going to have to give up? It doesn't have to be all or nothing, though, my friend. It doesn't mean giving up your favorite things like your morning coffee, right? But there are small, tiny habits that you can start implementing now to balance out your cortisol. And our guest, Rachel Sanders, is going to help us do just that. We're going to talk about not only nutrition, we're not going to talk about just working out, we're also going to be talking about how to manage your stress and your sleep. All affect your cortisol levels, right? So, about Rachel, she is a founder, innovator, and health and wellness expert committed to helping women 30 years plus achieve vibrant health with simple practical advice. She's the CEO and founder of Routine, a modern wellness brand offering science-backed supplements and home lab testing. She's a podcast host, investor, digital creator with over 100K followers on social media. And Rachel provides practical tips for improving stress, weight, sleep, productivity. Her work has even been featured in top publications like Forbes, Entrepreneur, and get this, she's super smart. She has an MBA from Harvard Business School. So she's super passionate and just knowledgeable about women's health and helping you take some really practical steps to improve your cortisol levels in particular in order to lead to optimal health, which, ladies, allows us to show up as our best self for not only yourself, but everyone else you love around you as well. Now, I know you're going to want to take notes during this conversation, okay? So pause, get a pen and paper handy, or get your notes app open, get ready to make some voice memos, and make sure to stick around to the end, and I'll share my top 3 takeaways. I think this is an important conversation. There's going to be some practical steps you can start taking now to take care of your health, balance your cortisol, but most importantly, without giving up everything you love. So let's go talk to our friend, Rachel. Okay, girlies, thank you so much again for tuning in to Habit Hack Your Health. I am so excited to talk about some very important topics and habit hacks with you today with our friend, Rachel Sanders. Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here today.
Same. Well, girly, the first question I ask every guest is, what is your favorite habit hack? Like, what is saving your life right now?
I am someone with cortisol issues. I'm working on them. But everything and anything related to cortisol balancing. And my favorite help hack tool is adaptogens. So adaptogens like ashwagandha and rhodiola are absolutely changing my life right now.
Yeah, awesome. This is such a hot topic, right? Cortisol is such a hot topic. And we'll talk about it a little bit here too, and how we can kind of help lower that as well. But Rachel, let's get to know you a little bit better first. Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, happy to. So I'm CEO and founder of a company called Routine. We do smarter supplements for your most vibrant health, really focusing on women in their 30 plus, helping them with their mood and mind health struggles, which there is a mental wellness crisis happening right now where women are dealing with more stress, more overwhelm, more burnout, more sleep issues than ever before. And this is leading to a ton of daily symptoms. A lot of it stems from cortisol. And everything we do at Routine and in my personal kind of experience and my personal audience, I try to share simple tips, tricks, tools, products that really help these women overcome these problems. Outside of Routine, I'm also a thought leader, digital creator online. I've got an audience of about 103,000 people across socials and my newsletter. So definitely check that out. And have done a lot of other things, health and wellness expert, but really excited to share more about all the work and all the things that are happening in and around cortisol.
Awesome. What led you to finding Routine and finding your business?
Yeah. So history on myself, I grew up in a household where holistic health was really part of our everyday life. It became really rooted in who I was, what I did, and how I think. So as I was getting sick or I needed to try to avoid getting sick, I'm thinking about my nutrition, my supplements, my lifestyle. And that was starting at a very young age. And so when I started to deal with some extra stress and burnout because I was working in finance early in my career, and working 60, 80, 100-hour weeks is not great on the body. I went back to the supplement aisle and saw really little innovation and just a lot of junk out there, right? And you don't know what's in there. You don't really know what to take. And I feel like that happens to so many people as you are like, all right, I'm going to fix my health. And then you go somewhere and it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to take. I don't know what if I take it, how I know if it's going to work. And that was really my like light bulb moment where I said, I saw all of this innovation, technology improvements happening on the healthcare side of things. Because I was working in and around healthcare and finance, but not a lot of that was happening on holistic health. And it just didn't make sense because there's so many things that we can do to improve our health before we get that sick. So why can't we apply these innovations and take a smarter, more science-backed, data-driven approach to health and supplementation? And that was really why we founded Routine and what we're all about. We're on a mission to help make it easier for women to improve their sleep, stress, and focus.
That's awesome. And I love that you grew up, knowing more about holistic health. I didn't grow up that way. And as I, became a mom and started on my own career path and stress and overwhelm and, down my own healthy habit journey, like I've really just dug deep into supplementation and taking care of like my mental health and my sleep and everything else outside of just diet and exercise. Because I think a lot of times we as women think of our health as just diet and exercise, but there's so many other components to
Yeah.
it. A couple of those obviously being our sleep and stress habits. So Rachel, can you explain a little bit about why these factors are so important to our health? And I imagine you're going to talk a little bit about cortisol as well.
Yeah, I would be happy to. And one of the other pieces, which I forgot to mention because it's relatively new, but I'm also training to be a hormone health coach. So by the time that this comes out, I will
Cool.
probably have that certification to help even more people really think about their hormones, et cetera, in a more holistic way. But to your question on stress and sleep. First of all, stress and sleep are super connected, but let's start with stress. So, stress is silently killing a lot of us. It is something that is ever present in our lives. And even for the people who say, you know what, I'm not stressed, I'm not overwhelmed, I'm not super busy, your body might be telling you differently. Stress can show up in so many different ways. It can show up as that moodiness, irritability, just overwhelm that a lot of people feel, but it can also show up as adult acne, as gut health issues, as trouble losing weight, as belly fat, as sleep problems. And so there's all of these symptoms where if you're in this state of constant stress, that can just happen with your body. And from a cortisol perspective, people might be sitting there, hey, what is cortisol? What does cortisol have to do with stress? So, cortisol is your major stress hormone. And where there's a hierarchy of hormones in our bodies, if you kind of think about it like a food pyramid, for example, cortisol is one of the hormones that sits at the bottom of the pyramid. And all of our other hormones, so the like female hormones, the estrogen, progesterone, those all sit above it. And so if we think about if one of that like bottom of the pyramid is out of whack, then it would just make sense that so many other things are going to be out of whack in the body. So if you can fix cortisol, if you can think about how do you manage your stress better? What are you doing across nutrition, across lifestyle? What are your stress habits? That can help fix a lot of other problems in the body. And I'm happy to go deeper into all those habits and hacks. But talking about sleep, so sleep is the other piece of this where poor sleep creates worse cortisol, and worse cortisol imbalance creates poor sleep. So you have this really vicious cycle that a lot of women are on, especially as we're getting older, hormones are changing, it just gets worse and worse. And so creating that really important sleep routine, really paying attention to your sleep, supplementing in ways that support healthy sleep are all really good things that you can do that will improve your overall well-being.
Gosh, it's like a vicious cycle, right? You're stressed
Yeah.
out and then you're not able to sleep well because you're laying in bed thinking about all the things you didn't get done, all the things you have to do tomorrow. Or if your kids get a little older, you're holding on to like their emotions if they're teens and preteens. And then your cortisol's just at an all-time high and you can't just out exercise
Right. No.
cortisol, right?
Yeah.
I think that's our first go-to. It's like, well, I just need to eat less and work out more. And I think you're just going to stress your hormones
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
more,
No.
right?
Exactly, because how you're eating really matters, how you're working out really matters. So, from a nutrition perspective, a couple of things that are really important to pay attention to is one is high protein, because protein really helps us feel satiated and it helps allow for more stable blood sugar. And everything related to nutrition and cortisol is all about what does your blood sugar look like? How metabolically healthy are you? Are you constantly spiking your blood sugar? Because the blood sugar spikes create insulin, and then more insulin creates cortisol, and then higher cortisol and the insulin, it becomes like a whole another circle. So
Right.
what you really want to do is think about, all right, how do I eat for stable blood sugar? So that means we're eating more whole foods. We're eating at all of our meals, we're having fat, protein, complex carbs, and fiber together. We're not eating a lot of processed foods. We're not eating a lot of sugar. And we're making sure to get that protein in at every single meal. What I do is I aim for between 30 to 40 grams of protein in the morning, and then at every single meal thereafter. And then meal timing is also really important. There's debates and research around this, between like, should you fast, should you not fast? Is there different times of your cycle that you should be fasting? But how I understand the research and what I've started doing for my own body is that intermittent fasting, like long fasts, is not good for your cortisol levels. And so I actually started eating when I got hungry in the morning, which was between 9 and 10. Um, but like fasting basically from dinner between like 6 and 7 to that first meal. So it's a little bit of fast to give your body that reset, but making sure you're eating throughout the day, it helps with that stress resiliency and it helps with that blood sugar balance, which is really important.
Well, I'm hearing so many people, and I've heard that too about fasting recently too. That's really interesting. But I've also heard recently people are like, well, you shouldn't drink coffee first thing in the morning because your cortisol spiked already, and then you're drinking this high
Yeah.
caffeinated drink, and then it spiked even more. You should eat before you have your coffee. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there is definitely research around it. And this falls into, if you're a woman, if you're a mom, I have two little kids. I work full time. I do a lot of different things. There's only so much time in the day, and there's only so many habits that I can habit stack across the board. And
Yeah.
so I try to take things in small doses that like work for me, that don't make me completely crazy. And this caffeine situation, yes, caffeine spikes your cortisol. If you drink caffeine too late, you're going to have trouble sleeping. Yes, there's benefits around eating before you have your coffee. But one of the things that I do, I love coffee. I haven't given it up. I don't wait 2 hours to drink my coffee. Even if there's research that says that that would be something to
Right.
do, I don't do it. But what I do is I hydrate before my coffee. So I have 40 ounces of water and electrolytes first thing so that I'm getting that rehydration before I have the caffeine. And another thing I've started doing, which I really love, is actually adding a scoop of protein powder into my coffee with a little bit of whole milk, because that's the milk that's in my kitchen, either whole milk or almond milk, depending. And it almost tastes like an adult hot chocolate, and it gets a little bit of protein in there, to help stabilize that like cortisol spike. And you're eating a little bit, and then I'll eat after my coffee.
Yeah, I feel you on that because I feel like sometimes women are hearing, especially on social media, there's so many
Yeah.
experts out there, and then it becomes really overwhelming. And they're like, I don't want to give up my coffee in the morning. And that's how I feel like it's a ritual for me, like
Yeah.
creating my coffee and the experience. But I've been doing what you've been doing too, Rachel. I've been drinking my electrolytes before I have my coffee, and I usually add collagen or a little bit of protein powder to there as
Yep.
well. Or early mornings where I do coach, I'll eat like a hard boiled egg before I drink my coffee just because it's so early in the
Yeah.
morning
Yeah.
too.
And there's so many other habits. If you're like, I need to balance my cortisol levels, or there's these other things, there are so many
Yeah.
habits that you're probably not doing. So let's try to add some of those habits in if coffee is
Mm,
like really your thing. Or
yeah.
maybe the thing with coffee is you're drinking 3 cups. Can you drop it to 2 cups? or you're drinking caffeine past noon and you're having sleep problems. Why don't we stop our coffee at 10? So like, what are those changes versus being like, I don't want to give up my coffee, so I'm not going to try anything.
Yeah, make it a little bit more simple on yourself. What about movement? What about working out? Because I'm sure a lot of ladies are thinking right now, well, what about like HIIT workouts and like workouts and cortisol? Like, what are some
Yeah.
things we can kind of debunk in regards to that?
Yeah, and I can tell you a little bit more about my experience with this. So I went through a pretty rough postpartum attempt at losing weight. So I'm generally a very healthy person. I was doing all the healthy things, the steps, the workouts, the eating well, and the weight dropped a little bit, but then I plateaued, and I had a lot of weight to lose. So I gained a lot of weight with my second, and then I tested my cortisol, and that's really when I went on this cortisol balancing journey and learning deeper and more into it. And my cortisol was super imbalanced. And one of the first recommendations I got from the personalized plan is thinking about how I was moving. And I made a couple of shifts that have made an absolute transformative difference. So, with everything I've done across nutrition, lifestyle changes, I ended up losing 52 pounds in 10 months. And so it really made a huge difference for me. But the workout, so I was doing more high intensity cardio, probably like 4 days a week. Let's call it 4 days a week. I still love high intensity cardio. It does something for my mental health. It allows me to escape, but it's not great for your cortisol levels. And so for someone with super imbalanced cortisol levels, doing less of that is probably going to help you. And so I cut that to maybe 1 to 2 days a week. And now I'm doing much more strength training. Strength training helps with muscle building, which helps with blood sugar balance. It does wonders overall for your hormones. And then, as an added bonus for women, one of the number one things now that we're seeing in research around health span and longevity is making sure that you're building muscle for bone health as we age. And so that's super helpful. And then walking. So instead of doing I'm a big Peloton girl or just like the HIIT workouts or all the things, I started walking a lot more. I got a walking pad. I walk outside more. And that step count plus the strength training has really transformed my body comp, and it helped me lose weight.
I love that so much. This is what we preach here all the time as well. It's like if you love something, but maybe it's not so great for your hormone health, it's not just to say we're going to totally take it away, but it's like scale it back, add in strength training, add in just more movement or a walking pad, like you said, and change it up. And that way you'll be able to see results a little bit more, especially if you've plateaued. Because I'm sure a lot of ladies listening have been like, well, I'm trying to do like the classes 5 days a week and nothing's happening. I think if you kind of scale back like that, not say, well, you can't do any of it, that seems a lot more reasonable. And sometimes people, go to group fitness classes for the community, or like you said, it's for your
There's
mental
other
health.
reasons.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for
So
sure.
maybe don't do it 5 days a week, but maybe do it like 1 or 2 days a week.
Mhm.
Figure out a way to like still do it, because similarly, and or combine it. So I started playing tennis again after not playing for like 10 years. I played growing up. But tennis is a really intense workout, especially like I'll go to cardio classes. So I'll play just straight for an hour and a half. That's intense.
There you go.
But part of that is also social connections and meeting people and having conversations and getting out of your head. So there's other benefits with it
Mhm.
that are valuable. So
Mhm.
definitely don't just say like, okay, I'm balancing my cortisol. I'm going to cut out all of my high intensity workouts, but then like also you're ending up cutting out social connections and mental health benefits. So just think about how to make it work for you.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to about talking about stress and sleep a lot, because I feel like this needs to be focused on a little bit more for women as well.
Yeah.
What are some healthy sleep habits we can start implementing to help us balance our cortisol?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that have really worked well for me. There's a ton of different options out there for sleep habits, but you kind of got to figure out what works for you in your season of life. Are you someone who has little kids and you've got like 20 minutes before bed and then you're just going to crash? Or are you someone that has a little bit more time and wants to do more of a wind down routine and that feels right for them? Some habits that are really important. So, one is thinking about where you're getting your light from. So are you having a lot of really bright artificial light at night? If the answer is yes, how do we tone that down? I've seen people get like red light bulbs from Amazon, and that helps with the cortisol is going down, melatonin is starting to go up. But even just put your phone down 30 minutes before bed. Don't scroll and fall asleep. Stop watching Netflix right before you fall asleep. Can you read a book instead? Those are some simpler ways to do that versus the change all of your light bulbs to red light bulbs at night conversation, which some people say, and there's a lot of research around, and I get that. Some other things that like, people swear by is making sure your room is super dark at night. Sleeping at colder. I think the research is between 65 to 68 degrees is optimal sleep temperatures. Um, Also, when you think about supplementation, so I'm someone who has struggled with sleep. I didn't struggle with sleep, and then I turned 30. I'm not 30 anymore. I'm older than that, but I've been struggling with sleep for a number of years at this point. And I've tried kind of all the supplements, the sleep aids, etc. And a lot of them don't work for me. So melatonin actually does the opposite. It knocks me out, but then I have really weird dreams. I wake up multiple times throughout the night, and then I feel like I've been drugged the next day. NyQuil, other sleep aids will do the same thing. So our sleep product, we use magnesium, which is more obviously natural, but we magnesium, L-theanine, we put phosphatidylserine in there too. It's melatonin free. And adaptogens like this can be really supportive of restful sleep, falling asleep, staying asleep, and waking up without that grogginess feeling. So having that sleepy time mocktail is something I love to do as well.
I love that. Do you drink that before you go to bed?
Yeah, I drink it about 30 minutes before I go to bed. So at around the same time I'm putting my phone away, I drink my mocktail, then I do my teeth and my skincare, and then I read a book.
Yeah, I love it. Put the phone down. I have started like picking up physical books and reading before bed again. And I used to do that years ago. And then your nose gets stuck like down in your phone all the
Yeah.
time. My sleep really did suffer because
Yeah.
of it. And I love falling asleep reading a book and being like, okay, you sleep so much better for it, all night sleep for sure. What about some stress habits as well? Or de-stressing habits we can start implementing to help us a little bit too, Rachel?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this, but hydration is really important. All of those nutrition things that I mentioned, thinking about how you're working out. Also, spending time in nature. There's a lot of research around nature being a natural stress reliever. So if you're going to walk, maybe try not to walk on inside, walk outside, take your dog for a walk, try to get that natural sunlight. That's super helpful. And then from a one of the other things that I talk a lot about is productivity and just thinking about how to get all the things that you need to get done. As a working mom of two littles with very little time on my hands, that's something that's really important and also helps me de-stress. So think about what are some habits that would work really well for you for getting what you need to get done. Whether it's the method where you're setting yourself an hour and I'm going to clean my entire house in an hour, or it's figuring out, all right, can I play offense instead of defense in the morning? So this is a habit that I've learned from my friend Amanda Getz, that it makes a ton of sense where you kind of go to bed knowing the 2 to 3 things that you want to get done the next day, and then you wake up and you actually do them instead of getting on your email or looking at your social media or starting to answer your kids or your kids' teacher or whatever. All of a sudden, like, you wake up and you can have stuff coming at you as soon as you open your eyes, right? But there's things you want to get done. There's things you need to get done. There's things that are contributing to your overwhelm. So how can you set aside 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour in the morning and really help yourself progress towards that goal that you want to hit, and then do everything else?
That seems a lot more in control and less
Yeah,
chaotic, right?
correct.
For the most part, for the most part. Oh, Rachel, this has been such a great conversation. Like I said, you're definitely speaking our love language here at Habit Hack Your Health. Where can everyone connect with you, find out more about routine, and learn a little bit more about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Rachel SOP Sanders, and you can find my website and get access to my newsletter and all the things there. A lot of free tools for cortisol balancing and just overall healthy habits. And then you can find out more about routine at our website, which is ROOTINE .co. And then you can also find our products on Amazon and on TikTok.
Super. We'll make sure to include all of that in the show notes so everyone can connect with you. Go check out routine as well. Rachel, thank you so much for this great conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Rachel, thank you so much for this conversation. It's so timely for our audience, for me personally as well. Make sure to go to the show notes, friends, and you'll be able to connect with Rachel, listen to her podcast, learn more about her supplement company, routine, and even more. Now, as you know, I share my 3 biggest takeaways with you at the end of every show, so let's get into it. First, I want to focus on nutrition. She mentioned, upping your protein. We've talked about that a ton here on this show, but I want to particularly talk about the tips she gave us around caffeine or coffee in the morning. I have a lot of clients where we do a lot of habit stacking. We create some habit loops around the ritual of making coffee because that is such a common habit that we do every morning. For me, it's like a whole ritual. I love creating like a decadent thing of coffee. But caffeine, your cortisol's high in the morning, and if drinking caffeine can spike it, but you don't want to give it up, right? I think a lot of times when we're trying to make changes with our health, even though we know it's good for us, we're like, man, I don't want to give that up. So I love her tip. I've been personally doing this, like I mentioned, of drinking electrolytes first thing in the morning before you drink that coffee. For me, I end up drinking less coffee, but I'm still able to attach my habits to that ritual of making my coffee in the morning. So don't feel like you have to take away all the things that bring you joy. We just have to tweak them a little bit. And I love that tip about the electrolytes in the morning. I actually just got a new protein powder that I really love. It's a chocolate one that I've been adding to my coffee in the morning, and it tastes like a decadent like mocha without all the extra gunk in it. I love it. Second, let's talk about movement, right? Dialing back the high intensity cardio, right? When we feel like we're gaining weight, the first thing we want to do is like, okay, I got to go run. I got to go do all the cardio. Girl, I get it. Like cardio is not only good for your heart, obviously, it's your cardiovascular health. But I feel like cardio is so good for your mental health as well, right? You get that runner's high. You get those endorphins going after a nice workout and a sweat. And you do get those with weight training. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a different feeling. So instead of doing, Orange Theory, for example, where I'm currently coaching, don't do that 5 days a week. Do it 1 or 2 days a week and focus on that weight training instead, especially if you love going and taking group fitness classes, because that coach in particular, you just need her motivation in your ear, or you are meeting your girlfriends and you want to like meet with them and go have coffee after. Like, girl, you don't have to give it all up. Again, just tweaking it slightly. And lastly, girl, we have got to stop the scroll before bed. This is something I personally need to eliminate as a habit. I'm starting to read just more books before going to sleep, or just chatting with my husband, because that light is just going to cause you to stay up later or maybe not get such restful sleep. And I know for me, I'm really focused on my sleep habits and trying to de-stress from the mental and emotional load we carry as moms. Why we have to do habits differently, girl. And if you're able to set yourself up for a good night's rest, this will also help balance your cortisol. Now, all of these habits will lead to you de-stressing, right? When you're moving your body, when you're prioritizing protein and eating well, but not restricting yourself all the time, and you're setting yourself up for a healthy sleep routine, your stress levels are going to naturally go down, and that's going to naturally balance out your cortisol. Now, I would recommend go see a functional medicine doctor to get further testing. Like I said, I might do a follow-up, or maybe just follow up on Instagram and share with you what all I found. But like Rachel mentioned, this is all about being on the offense versus defense, being proactive versus reactive. It doesn't mean trying to do all of this at once, giving up all the things you love and like soul-sucking habits that are like, oh, I gotta go take care of my stupid mental health. Yeah, if you see that meme, right? No, it's about tiny little steps, tweaking some of your habits so that they best serve you and your health physically and mentally, and watching that just snowball from there. That, my friend, is training for life. Pivoting your habits. Sure, it's supporting your health and hormones And you can do this no matter what season of life that you're in. So I am so rooting for you. If you need some help, go to the show notes. You can become a member of the Training for Life app. If you're wanting to prioritize weight training right now, like, girl, I am here for you. Or come connect with me on Instagram. Let me know what you learned from this episode and what tiny habits you're going to start tweaking and pivoting to support your cortisol levels as well. I'll catch up with you in the next episode. I am so proud of you for listening to another episode of Habit Hack Your Health. I don't want you to just feel inspired, but I want you to go take action. To help you do that, go grab a free 7-day trial inside of the Training for Life app. This is habit-based fitness programming that you won't find anywhere else. A full fitness library with workouts programmed around what we need as midlife moms, and habit trainings and accountability community to help you stay consistent no matter what season of life that you're in. Go to trainingforlifeapp.com to start your free 7-day trial, and let's start training for life together. I'm so rooting for you, girl. I'll see you in the next episode.